Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all had a good lunch. Turn to page 5 of the prayer book and we'll begin. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
Sanje Chodan Zojen Chodan Lai Chanju
Bardu
Nane Kyasun Jen Dagi Jenso Kipe Sonam Ke Androda Pinche Sangye
May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. And to page 7. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I've gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, For the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. Sashe Posho Shoshin Metoja Avira Linze Nide Gembade Sangye Shenla Mekte Puayi Androka Namdai Shindu Skewa Shosho. Okay, and then page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination, according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Samche Namche Sambadam Aloye Chetra Chetawa Achechon Demo Tepaye Choje Kolo Kordu So. Tamge Dongje Jajere Zondo Shenje Medo Duje Bunjombo Serje Lumbo Dawra Jivik Shaje Jarbe Shavla Kujan Se Jime Wazar Toje Jingro De Madi Shijingo Chedawa Tamje Sekwa Kunjen Chui Jeje Yamende Gong Renje Kujan Se Omi Choje Yingje Podong De Sanje Kunje Ngowan Rasam Jogang Ozong Tong Zebe Zawe Lame Shavla Kujan Se Kanda Jodro Dong Genje Dena Dege Lomra Jorwa Kansot Tender Dong Be Chojen Jaran Be Basan Brando Dam Jende Ye Shen Namo Lia La Ye Gidan Lo Dong De Jige Chong Da Tam Ye Ginam Dua Gunje Jage Je Zamba Tam Che Gide Da Ge Chu Den Do. Good afternoon. So now page 5 in the sadhana. Da tela de za hong bang ho sto. Da te ko du ba don de ke chen bo de za hong bang ho se ya dan za se ya de na nga zo jian den ba wa jian den ba de s. Okay. Tene za hong ze na ta tin sa pe je me na hyok su zo wa. Jian tang hyok su. Tene bam se na ten ba. Ngo ta yi hi ba ta tam se sam ba yer me ba ten ba. Tene ho se ya de na ta ngo zo tam se sam ba ta yi hi ba de ne ni su mi ban je ne ta jek cha ba la ho.
So where we left off on page 5, we have Ja Hong Bam Ho, which is sort of the Sanskrit version, but or in Tibetan Za Hong Bam Ho. So here, these are also important syllables that we always say at this point where there's this what's called the merging of the Samaya and the wisdom being. So we've the Za is invocation or invitation. Hong is request, as we mentioned before. You know, there's at first you invite, then you request the deity or to be seated, and then the Bam. So it's like the invitation, the settling, if you will. The Bam is the dissolving. So with Bam, then deity dissolves into us, and then with Ho, that the Ho it means non-duality. So then there's complete mixing and becoming non-dual. So we've generated ourselves in the form of Amityus. Light has emanated from our three places and invites the wisdom being, the external Amityus, who then comes, and then with these syllables, Za, Hung, Bam, Ho, the deity comes, it settles, dissolves, and we become non-dual, or dissolves into us and we become non-dual. The Samaya being and the wisdom being. Oh, so yeah, I wanted to just, so Dhruvan and I spoke a little bit afterwards, based on kind of the historical discussion that we had in the beginning, and I realized that I had gotten a little bit mixed up, and unfortunately Steve, who I was responding to when I got kind of mixed up, because, so just to make it easier, there are these terminologies in Tibetan, ngadar and chidar, which is, ngadar is literally the early dissemination. So it's not even translation, actually. It's the early dissemination. And chidar, which means later dissemination, it's referring to the Dharma. So within that, there's also all of this growth that happened in terms of translation, right? So I made the incorrect distinction with those terms, so both Trisong Detsen, or Songtsen Gampo and Trisong Detsen, and the Dharma that came to Tibet at that time and the translations that occurred were part of the early dissemination or the early translation. So they both fall into that category. I made a distinction, which did happen, but it doesn't, but those terms are not associated with it. So when, during the time of King Trisong Detsen, there was a really big effort at standardization. So there was all of these translations that had happened, during the time of Songtsen Gampo, and then a real effort to standardize the Tibetans from Sanskrit into Tibetan that largely had to do with the translation of mainly the Buddha's teachings, or the Kangyur, the sutras, but then these terms, early and later, really have to do with, so also I think I may have said something about how it waned a little bit the Dharma waned between the time of King Songtsen Gampo and Trisong Detsen, which is not the case. It was like a steady climb. So from the time of Songtsen Gampo to Trisong Detsen, the Dharma was flourishing. And then after Trisong Detsen, there was a period called the era of fragmentation that happened during like the 9th and early 10th centuries, where the Dharma really declined. And so
there's basically no monasteries and no monks.
Mm-hmm. And so then after that is when then in the kind of late 10th century, you have the 11th century with then this rise again with Atisha and also Marpa, and this era, what created, and then this is how you also have the distinction of Nyingma and Sarma. So the Nyingma being what was the early school that started with Padmasambhava, and this pertains to this time of Songtsen Gampo and Trisong Detsen. The Dharma declined, and then there was this second wave, which is what the Sarma schools, Gelug, Sakya, Gelug, Sakya, Kagyu, developed out of that period of the second wave. And so that's when you also had a later wave of translations. So that's the distinction, the early translations and the later translations. So I hope that kind of clarifies it.
Okay.
Yes, they both fall into the category of early.
Right. Actually, the Tibetan era, So the 40 kings, so the continuation, extremely powerful. So then the 33 king, Songtsen Gampo.
He's
So
the 33rd.
he started in the Dharma. So interesting, this similar is the King Ashoka, right? So Ashoka, so the Songtsen Gampo is very warrior, right?
Warrior. Uh-huh.
And fight
Similar to
all
Ashoka.
He defeats all like east, west, north. So then eventually, maybe this is not right. So maybe better to tinit this tumbugugdo samgyo sarwa.
He felt like, we need to have harmony. It's better to have harmony.
So because that is all the neighboring countries, he bring the wife. So then
That's why he took a wife from each of the neighboring countries.
kind of like 4 directions, the kings. So same
So
thing,
from
King
the 4
Ashoka, right?
directions.
So King Ashoka is just sees a world, just all like India, and he fight and kind of completely defeat all the small India kingdoms, whatever. But finally, he's meet the monk, and so then he not right. He changed that. He's become. So then his time is he built like for the confession, right? I think what is the how many stupas? No more than that.
We can look.
Millions stupas or and also this with the pillar, Ashoka pillar. How many? But anyway, so okay, so now it's back so page 7.
No, it's all right. Here, I can just. It says 84,000 stupas. JT Egypton.
What? How many stupas?
Dilla JT Egypton Trido.
Yeah, I think there's 100,000 stupa.
Yes, I had a question on page 4 at the top, at the very beginning. At the last sentence there, it's I and the Torma appear as the Retri. So the Torma, that I know in the empowerment we had a Torma in front of Drupal. Is that part of the visualization? And then there's 2 Huri, or is it just one consolidated together?
Good question. So what page is it again?
Oh, it's 4.
Page 4.
Page 4.
It's in the last line of the first part.
Yeah, then torma de penawanga la torma yorowa, then dika la torma yorebe, then yang denda yana de hri ni yorebe torma la chik nga chik yang na hri nika hri chik dawore.
다 데려와 쭉 가르스나 다 interesting 요래 돌마 세야지도와 다 참상가서 돌마 다 라마 라고래 다 돌마 세야디 가르스나 I not sure exactly I can look later but 돌마 세야들라다 테레 사티 기티네 시행강 양면은 라 코랑 어떻게 차디 요러와 단디 나네 가르스나 다 돌마 지디다 Penacha Shananga, one we got Lamatan, Tormatan, Tene, Carsegore, Sepami, that inseparable Chagorwa. In a Tandan di Nala loved it, Tata, Tanga, Bungaragum, Guatalama, one at Nimarwa. Tarangaragom Becala, Tenechic, Benata, Torma, Torma Jetanga, so Tormaji Sogorwa, Tormateri, Yena, which means Carson Tormati, ta Hekan or Hekan, then la Sepami Koranki, Jinkono, what a teller is.
So dika la kong la yorwa de ri carbo, then it torma rang la ri or ri marbo ri chik yorebe not so young
Really, I think
so
this.
kakarwa.
Tati, Dan Dinala Torma Labdoa, I think Nigo Samaris. Penacha Narayang Tormare, Narayang Tini, Carsena, and the Tsepami Noroa, Tinita, Tegaran, Data Torma, yeah, maybe Tone, Tini, Egyptian and
Yeah, so So here, so generally speaking, so there is, and as you mentioned also during empowerment, right? But like like in the context of empowerment, the Lama, the Torma, the deity are like an indivisibility. But the Torma, usually what a Torma represents is either the deity, or we could say the celestial palace of the deity, or the mandala of the deity. That's what the Torma represents in empowerment. And also, in this case, like if we're doing retreat, we make a Torma, and we have that Torma also on the altar, and that represents the mandala or the celestial palace of the deity, with the deity in there. So in this case, Amityus, the Torma is the celestial palace or the mandala of Amityus. But he said, as far as like however, if we're thinking like, oh, there's a Hri, I have a Hri, and the Torma is the deity with a Hri, it's not like conceptually dualistic like that, because like he said, actually, we and the deity and the Torma are like an indivisibility. We're all the deity, and it's like there's not one or two. So you can just think of it as being like the Hri, one Hri that embodies or encompasses the Hri for ourselves and the deity or the Torma.
Just one syllable, yeah, from you. Da tirawa. Da nga tila chitanga to da ma che ji la tene ji nga ringbo tang nga tumu tang tene yang ning se ya da wo tang ya yom da mangbo yo de ine ya da de la nga to chepa mi tila nga ringbo tang nga tumu ni do.
And so then, as you notice, we have two different mantras. We have the long mantra and we have the short mantra. And so this is, in the case of many deities, there's often different mantras. It's not like the deity just has one mantra. There's, different types of mantra that will belong with maybe each deity or each generation stage practice. And here in the case of Amityus, it's mainly these two mantras that are recited in connection with Amityus.
Da tila ta nga ringbo ti ki ta thonda do phan du do shu sha wi na tene da pe na cha sha na chi me be ke tene da yi she nga de wa che pa mi tela da che pa mi wu ji ki che pa mi tene wu ji ki gerbo wa chi me ba yi she nga wa 오테 카리스나 다 가서 상지 좀 되는 가서 디나요 좀 되는데 뒤 거다 좀 모양 다 벌도 상지 양타 벌도 벌라 창체로스
So essentially what is embodied in the meaning of the long mantra, just sort of like an abbreviated kind of summary, is like, Amityus, king of light, of limitless life, who is the nature of primordial awareness, who is not different from, the Buddha, the fully perfected, or the wisdom of the five Buddha families, the Buddha, the perfectly, the let's see.
No, this is the only the parable yorwa.
Oh, right. So when we say in the prayer book, there are these ways in which we supplicate the Buddha, which is pretty standard, like Chom Dinde Deshin Chikba Drachompa Yang Dakbar Zope Sanje Rikba Dang Dimba, etc. So that's like where do we have that translated? In the prayer book. What did you say? Someone said? Is it in the set? It's in this. Is it?
So I'm on page 11 and 12.
Okay.
Transcend and conquer one those. think page 11. Okay, 11.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's the last, on page 11, it's translated, the meaning of what is recited, is translated into English: transcend and conquer, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue. It's mainly actually, is it the chatsang rebe or just the? So I think it's just up to like Yangdape Sanje. So it's just up to completely perfected Buddha. So this is something that comes often together, just in the same order: transcend and conquer, the one thus gone, foe destroyer, completely perfected Buddha. So that is also contained here. You can see Tata Gataya Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya Teyata. And so it's like basically I prostrate to, prostration to the Buddha is contained within that.
Tene da ti shugla karsena chancelos da sebami rawa tele chancelos da karsena.
So I pay homage to Buddha Amityus.
Tene sonam la tsimi ba da sonam renga so de karsena 통나 렌치 집이 이해des tezoda 손이 넘버 타비 에게다 라제 송도 되니다 소남 치미바 나와스 테네 치미비
Sonam.
다 소남 치랑 치미바 요래 다 소남 치미바 토로나 이게 치미바 토로나 추탐지 그랑이 넘버 타바 다 하고와 고고고와 효로라고 요사라와
So, and it's saying essentially like, please grant me limitless merit, please grant me limitless wisdom, please help me to understand the completely pure true nature of all phenomena.
어디니다 디트나이케 데네다 추랑이 남가다고 로와 랑이 넘버 타바 데 장적 침부 칼람나 트로나스
And also then, please lead me on the path of awakening to the realization of the completely pure true nature of all phenomena. So if we were to translate the Sanskrit, then this is, more or less what's contained in the meaning here.
That's word by word. This sentence is the structure this kaporwa. Ina ya kesi jorbe ina tene om doa ta om namo bangawa destoe om nom doa. Tela ta om seya tela yihing aji ngowo. Tene kusung togi ki chenlap dubi sam chadi yores.
So this structure is really difficult to unpack, the grammatical structure, but if we translate word for word, like first is the syllable om. So om is the syllable that is the essence of the 5 wisdoms of the 5 Buddha families, and the syllable that embodies the blessings of the 3 kayas. Or contains the blessings of the 3 kayas.
Tene namo bangawa des.
Then we have Namo Bhagavate. So Namo is to prostrate, and Bhagavate is the transcendent conqueror, the Buddha, or Bhagavan, Bhagavate.
Tene aparameda sidu tsimeba. Hitimeba jachimborwa.
Aparamita kare?
Tsimeba.
Tsimeba. So then, aparamita is referring to or means like limitless, without measure, or transcendent perfection.
Ayunjana.
And then ayurjana.
Tene tsetang yihi.
So ayur is longevity and jhana is wisdom. So this it contains both longevity, like limitless, so limitless longevity and wisdom.
tene sumbini zidas,
Then Sumvini Sita
tene shindu temba,
is
yowa
like,
meba, tajik takbasina ngebarwa.
means like extremely stable and unwavering.
Ngeba, oh, that's okay. Tenzo ranzaya, tela, nga chono labna digda tenzo.
So then Tedzo Radzaya is next.
Te wuji ki jarbo, wazembar bi jarbos.
Which means the king of light, or the king blazing with light rays.
Tatangata de takatangi tikwada ti yekpa, ti yeki chombata sanje ki tsenres.
So then Tathagata is another word name for Buddha, meaning the thus gone one, the one who has gone beyond, or the thus gone one, the Tathagata.
Arhades ta dajombaro arhade.
Arhate is is the foe destroyer, or
Nyomba.
the one who completely destroys the afflictive emotions, the Arhat.
Tene samek sambudaya, samyak sambudaya, samek sambudaya, or I think samek sambudaya. Tela
Samyak
yanta borzobe sanje.
Then Samya Sambuddhaya is that completely perfected Buddha, is what that means.
Tene tiyata zita data des de Europe des.
Teyata de,
Data des the no jilagutan data den dere do.
Like
This
the- like-
is no I don't know.
like this is so, kind of.
Tati indu tati mambo jegla nga kangoli yung do ti ata obe kanza ma be kanza labu do tengo ron de dade la nga so tiyo ti ata onga de baranga de barasanga do.
So we hear-
samen gola te mambo ji dong do. Tan dere do this is no ji.
So it means like this is it. We hear it a lot in mantras, like it's Teyata, and the Medicine Buddha mantra, and the excuse me, Shakyamuni mantra, or in the mantra of the Heart Sutra. And so it's something along the lines of, thus it is, or it is thus, kind of.
Tine da om punes
And then Om Punye Punye.
da sonam re sonam.
That's the word for sonam, for merit.
Tine da
Om
sonam la nga so
merit,
sonam sena.
merit.
Da nga so jalaji yung yorwa. Da sonam zidi ko jalaji la mengji yorwa. Yina da meng ti la kadan de la son pune mambo la ya tala da jumsen yorwa. Pa nga so jalan do ji chi bi na tine t-shirt do ji na. Ku t-shirt zidi da t-shirt ji meng do t-shirt ji do. Yina t-shirt la batila t-shirt sama chipa revesana chipa chag yo marwa welunda manda yorwa bena t-shirt chigla $10 chizigri t-shirt chigla kono tonta chizigirwa ta tindi ko ramba ji yo tin ta tambo sonam jitate chig sonam ja chembo sonam kema tene sonam chembo sonam chimeba satate ni mamala wo sara.
So it's like merit, and then maha merit or maha punya is like great merit. So, and then aparamita punya. So there's all these sort of like growing, this expanding of merit. So it's sort of like with things, right? So things have, we give a name to like one thing, but there's such a variety of like the type of thing it can be. Like if you have a T-shirt, like, there might be a lot of different T-shirts, but one is, they're all called T-shirts, but they might have different value. Like one T-shirt might be worth $10, and another T-shirt might be worth $100, but they're both T-shirts. So in the same way, you have this distinction between the degree of merit, lesser merit and great merit and transcendent merit.
오다 뿌네뿌네에서 대대 소놈래 다 소놈 테네 마하뿌네지리다 소놈 첨부 치미바스.
And then, so Mahapunya is like great merit, aparamita? Punya? No, just Mahapunya. Is like immeasurable merit or vast merit.
테네 아빠라메다 뿌네라도 테네 치미바 immeasurable.
Say meba loud, sorry.
Okay.
All right. No. Okay.
So 아빠라메다 뿌네 자나 상바로 빠지데스. 테네 텔라양 치미바당 소놈당 테네 이신이 조사바레스.
And so,
테네다 테레 마모도아 당보 뿌네지도 소놈지레스. 테네 아빠리메다 뿌네지도 치미바레스 히트미바레스. 아빠리메다 뿌네 자나 상바로 빠지데라나 치미바 담마지베게 테네 디토라야 이히치미바 요레스.
okay, so the Mahapunya is like immeasurable merit, then Aparamita Punya is immeasurable merit, and beyond that, transcendent merit. So the merit that is the accumulation of wisdom, that's wisdom, the transcendent merit.
테네 옴 sarva samkara parihyuda 제두다 뉴지에키 추어담지 타바. 뉴지 타바스 뉴지 타바 뉴지로한 뉴지바 타바.
Oh, so aparamita punya and then aparamita punya jhana. So in that we have immeasurable merit, immeasurable transcendent merit, also then wisdom, jhana as wisdom. Then sambaro. Samba.
No, Om Sarba.
Om Sarba, where?
Samkara.
Oh, so the Sambaro Patishi Kapar. The la the Sambaro Patishi.
Bune ma aparimeda bune jana. Dandel sarba tindo ina das doa di doa sarba samkara tindo di.
The old re the che che. Came into che Dilla che
What? That's okay. So they're saying okay. So first you said okay, you're reading this. Okay, aparimeda bune estoa. Did you see that?
Aparamita punye.
Oh, that is maybe sonam les.
Dinda lain. De mahapunye yang se maybe sonam le. Yeah. Lain. Aparamita punye lain. Aparamita punye jana lain.
Oh, then aparimeda punye jana sambaro pazade.
Sambaro pazite.
Oh, yeah, then simebata yihetsimbares.
Oh, okay. So that Sambaro Patsite is part of the Aparamita Punya Jhana, which is the transcendent merit that is the culmination of wisdom.
Om Sarva Samkara Parihudas.
Then Om Sarva Samskara Parishuddha.
단 두직 두치바라와 추담지 두치바 탐지 타바 단 두직 추담지 때 타바레스
Ducheba?
두치바 단 두마치바 요라 두치
Ducheba, okay.
되게 타
So this is Om Sarva, all samskara. So all compounded phenomena are completely pure, is essentially what is meant here. Om Sarva Samskara Parishuddha, right? Rebe.
우리 말이다 yes dharma 때 스타트 dharma 때지도 다 추니랑 기타봐 추당 추니 정도 다 나당 가연지 방가서 추기다다 되네 가사다 세나리 나당 가연지 바다 되리 추 두지 당 두마치비 추 탐지 되네 랑이네로 타바레스.
So Dharmate is then referring to also the true nature. So, so essentially here, the compounded as well as the uncompounded are all the nature of complete purity.
Tene gangana samungate.
Gagana samugate.
Da tela namkatan nyamba churwa.
They are vast like space.
Tene so bawa mbeshyode du rangi number taba.
Swabhava Vishuddhe means their nature is utter purity, their pristine
Rangi
purity.
number taba de mato bekichi ta tegas chik number taba mai
So,
no maimba.
it is distinguishing that their essence is what is complete purity, not that everything is pure, but that the essence of all phenomena is complete purity.
Tene Mahanaya pare ware Sidita tekpa chimbu kotan jeba.
Mahanaya Parivare is the retinue of the Mahayana, or of the great vehicle.
Da tele kala gorsna changchup chimbu kalamrawa changchup chimbu.
So indicating that this is the path of awakening, the path of bodhisattvas.
Da tela soha labde ta di khond la khawat la tamitan robar khos.
So then soha is like the concluding word, which means garila.
Khond la khawat someone robar khola.
So it's sort of like, may everything that has been stated be accomplished.
Tinita I think difficult, right? Conflict. That here wa door do the shubina tene setan yi she sonam padmewa ta jungkong tila tene ta sepameyam sanje chadi yores.
Sanji Sepat.
Tene ta tela sorba tapne tene ta nga chok ju la rawa. Nga chok ju la tene sonam samji mechawa rawa. Sonam tse mewa jik. Oda te toba. Ta top shose nga top to gora ta nga dana nga ti top to yores. Sonam tse meba tobe ina tene ta nga chok karse gore nekap ke tene kange khande yona lu kinata ina re jik sam kini tsuyin bina re chang toba dang tato sonam ti ki jula tene tene jik chaja chimbu koma la so bo ta top to gro wa ta te to na ti pi duina tin re sare.
So, in brief, what is being said here, or what is contained in this mantra, is that Amityus is the deity of immeasurable longevity, immeasurable wisdom, immeasurable merit, and Buddha Amityus. And if we supplicate Buddha Amityus, then this will allow the merit in our own continuum of being to increase. Our merit can expand inconceivably, and we will receive or attain the city of longevity, and accumulate immeasurable merit, and all of the sort of temporary obstacles to longevity and merit, illness and lack of well-being and so forth, is cleared away, and we are eventually, the ultimate result or attainment is ultimately realizing Mahamudra, liberation and full realization.
So now page 11. Then da nga zo lu de la tene jungwa nga chop yorwa. Da jungwa nga da sama higerwa kares.
Okay, so so our bodies are comprised of the 5 elements. So does anyone want to share what the 5 elements are? Lisa?
Wind,
Wait for the microphone.
earth, wind, water, fire, and
Yeah, it's unique to the Buddhist. Yeah. I
your
think,
mind,
Yeah.
space. No,
Space.
space.
Da di nga zo okay. And da nga zo de la di karsa nga zo supo le related yores. Kar res nga zo karcha de yores.
And so our body, when we think about, what our body is comprised of, the physical attributes of our body are actually the elements. So can anyone take a stab at like what the different aspects of the physical body, like which is which element? Yvonne, you wanna?
Well, the element earth is this, the flesh, right? The physical body.
Sa.
Okay.
And then the wind, it's our energy that flows back and forth, right? And
The
our
breath.
and our the breath, right? The water is like our blood and everything inside. That was earth, wind, water. Fire is the warmth in our body, right?
True.
Right? And then the space is our mind,
Sim.
our consciousness.
Namka. Namshi.
Maybe.
Maybe? No? Okay.
Very good.
Try.
Yeah.
어다 디인도다 신기도와 데레다 디인도다 촌로다 갈스나 것도 중앙알이 첩되와티 길룬데 테네 단 중앙아고 밸런스 오지 요비나 테네 다 고수보데 즉 나자메와 대오인반도지 차비오레스
Yeah, so very good. And he said, so when these 5 elements in the body when there's balance among the 5 elements, then we're healthy. And when there's imbalance, then that is what creates like illness, some physical imbalance based on imbalance in the elements.
어다 디인도 갈스나 가서지 갈세를 쇼테지 가리 요비나라와 지 메나 야 테네 단다디 갈세 자와링이 기테네 메야디스 체르다야 출레히라 메위나 출레야 효키로 다야 어다 텐리지네 당가서 소르왔다 부요레스 테타 디에타비 좀 센데레 데네 다코 밸런스드 소토 부요로와 테 소바텔라 당가서 체롭도 부요레스
So that in this section of the text, from page 11 to page 12, so that's what we're doing. We're supplicating. So wherever there is shortage or decline in the balance of the elements in our body system, where there is some decline or we're diminished in one area or another, then we're supplicating the Buddha that is connected with one or another of these elements, and we're supplicating for an increase of the energy or the power of that element.
이나다 디나는 做切小的个种中啊有了哇，因为中啊给进方式能切个做的弄起的有的意思。
The tsuwo lungrewa.
好嘞，
Okay. So regarding the functioning of these 5 elements, the most important is the element of wind.
他弄的了，他给全部修的，看上个做的，温度讲了，这开始拉有了哇，弄什么嘢咪是呀？他弄的当什么不的，这话修就有的意思。
And this is partially because, it's so important because he also said, he mentioned it during the teaching Songendro, that there's a really strong connection between the mind and the wind. So there's this almost like inseparability, the wind and the mind are very closely tied.
다 텔레카스나 롱텔랑 가서 락파 somno tamina 롱라 테네 자베 롱아타 테네 이나 롱아 휴비오레스.
And if we think about it on a course level, so there's the course winds, speaking in a course level, there's the 5 principal winds, or the main winds, and the 5 branch winds.
테네 다 가리디 5 course wind 가리.
So does anyone remember or want to share what the 5 main winds are, the 5 course winds? With anyone with the mic?
다 개미도 다.
It's okay if you, do you want to try, Paula? Yeah. So,
I just got those guys.
so the ascending winds and the descending winds,
다
yeah.
텔레 롱텔라 가리오스나 테리다 가리 롱. 다 송지 롱세야지 요레스.
So the first one is the life force winds. The life force, like the wind that sustains life force, essentially.
다 텔레 다 닝라 네네 가르는 가서 다 라이프 텔레 오 동거레스.
And it's said to dwell like mainly in the heart, or like at the heart level. So that when we say heart, we don't mean physical heart, but like at the heart center. And it's also what kind of governs the actual breath, the action of breathing.
테네 changes 라고요레스.
Then there's what, as Paula mentioned, the ascending winds.
다 텔레 가르는 가서 개찰라비아 다 칼라사야 라소베 키벨레 같이 그레스.
And this governs like the function of speech. So this is what enables us to talk. What enables us to swallow, like eat and swallow.
테네 톨셀 롱 라비다 가서지. 지마다나 라소바다 테네 포모 대와냐 라소벨레 같이 요레스.
And then there's the evacuating winds or the descending winds, and this is what lets us go to the bathroom. It's also what kind of functions in like sexual sensation and so forth. That governs those kinds of things.
다 매냠 그롱 랍나 테네 다 가서 digestion 칼라 준로야 티 같이 요레스.
Then there's the digestive winds, and this is what, that helps our digestive processes work.
테네 다 잡지 클롱로와. 잡지 클롱들라 테네 가서 다 이나 군주자가 수가. 존, 다 네사로 가기 요래라고 다디 네사디 가와네 잡지 매냠롱이나 테네 토고라 네기 요러와. 대와라. 대비와라 네기 요레스. 테네 베나다 잡지 클롱로네 존 네기 요레스.
And then there are the pervasive or kind of the general, like pervading winds. And these dwell like at the joints, and they're what enable us to move the body, like which what allows us to walk, and move our limbs, and so forth. And then, each of these winds have kind of their location or their dwelling place. Also, the digestive winds or the fire winds dwell in the stomach. Or at the navel.
Navel, below the navel.
Not at the stomach, navel.
That's like John Lion, what have you?
Yeah, Latin.
Or that the longer is.
So these are the 5 main winds.
That the Zave longa tela, Karchavior Senata, Nazoterita, Ambongati. Ambongala, Karsenata, Tezungdoa, Kawani Yoresena, Tene Ro. Roland Dawa Kambaji ditine, Ronionchi Kita, take our neighbors, Genes Hola Negores. Didn't make no imbina, didn't Salme method that make the Kojima, la Konipaji yours, make the Chasamares, Telenegores. The Gana Yita, Narondo imbina, Narongi Jima Latine, Cup, Nirondo, Niores, Teletsurguores. I'm joining with I'm just on the coke maris, I'm just ding la co city mark, no, chung yoris, or tell negrela.
Dene papa.
Or papati, pape gana nig mari, pape walla nig marita, coach legacy, yourself sensation.
So then the branch winds, the Hansaya Goria, Marawati, Yamli Tikona. The branch winds also then are, they're connected with each of the sense faculties, and they are what enable the sense faculties to function. So for instance, there is what is referred to, there's like essentially like the taste buds, I guess, that are on the tip of the tongue in a half moon shape or crescent moon shape on the tongue. And that's where the taste sensation winds abide. And then there's what's referred to as the zarma flower of the eye. This is not the iris, because we talk about, I think the iris as being like a flower, but it's inside the pupil. It's like in, at the core of the of the eye, and it's like a little flower shape, and that's where the winds that govern sight abide. And then there are the nose, the faculty of smell, they're like 2 tiny needle shapes at the kind of base of the nostrils and the nose, which are where the winds that govern smell abide. And then in the ears, there's a tiny little point, a tiny little hole at like the base of the, at the inside the ear, the center of the ear that allows for the winds that govern sound abide there. And then for sensation or touch of the body, it's like it's a layer. I don't know where our nerves are. Is it the epidermis? But it's like it's between the actual, like the skin, but below the flesh. It's like a layer in the middle of the kind of inside between the outer layers of skin and it's probably lower than the epidermis.
So
I don't know. Subcutaneous. There you go.
okay. So not underneath the skin, but this not top of the skin. So also this feeling, sometimes maybe we feel, the smooth or the sensation, right? But this feeling is not really top of the skin. So this feeling is also neither not underneath, but something feels. We feeling cold or like sometimes raw clothing or smooth clothing. Yeah, itching also. What that is, keche shote long race, long atikta, support some function chigdoa.
But in any case, the most important of all these elements is the element of wind. It's really what kind of is the most predominant element in the body.
다 가르치기 어려라고 그러와. 다 롱아 예레미 송도와. 다 nga di down we kaula nga thela thi ke nupa ta nga chu ke sem newa. Thi ke nupa thela 다 예미 lunga 예미 게 요러와. thi 가라 ne위나 다 제당 가서 참참 들라 그래. wisdom wing 들라고도 이나 강다리야. 텐디제 게 내대에 까라 땅원이 중화 참마대다 밸런스 지요레스.
And this is really connected with these practices of mantra recitation that we do. Because when we say also, like the wind and the speech are indivisible. So when we produce sound, when we speak, that is a lot of wind activity. And that activity allows for the elements to come into balance, like that use of the wind in reciting mantra. So it allows for the wisdom wind to become more predominant and allows for the elements to settle, like to establish balance. So the practice of reciting mantra has, in utilizing the wind in that way, has this like inherently healing property.
Whether the good or bad, difference. Penanga to the that winged, long doa, long so that long the carcha or the tanga to the hik long the nyomombe long niche yorwa. The hik nyomombe long seatela, that kadu in the same thing long tela, then got to hear down the one Tado Giovanno, that worry Karimana, Tindiji Umbecala, then that nyomombe long chak yoris.
And so we have, the winds can function in a productive way or an unproductive or dysfunctional way. And they are greatly connected with the quality and content of our speech. So we have, because there's essentially two modes of wind. There's affliction wind and there's wisdom wind. And so when we have a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety, a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of anger, that means, that the affliction winds are taking hold or are predominant.
That thing that the kitchen was shooting, also the logo. But now, head on Gigi Jewala, or second Jigna. Then a lucha on chap to it. Carries in a long than a chap the Oroco. Long. Koji Carson also Tedua. The internet or signal logic. That chap the Oro. Signal chapman also covered the second Jigan, Roto internet. Or 10 now you winged the control for body system chap the Kabla. Then Yabochina could lose them the same the devo over no moment of Jena, such a check in Alaya, could support disturbing, when you want all disturbing, and Trinity Sarah or that. Tanga to not Yamlanchi, not Pengri, say, I think Jim Satis.
And so in a single, like in an instant, these winds can pervade the whole body instantaneously, like at the body and mind, like an internet signal. So, in like a single moment, if for instance we have, like if a affliction wind takes hold, in a single second, our whole body system, can be filled with a rush of anger, for instance, and our mind can become completely clouded by anger. And so this is how it works with the affliction, for instance, affliction winds. And in the same way, the moment we sit down to start reciting mantra, for instance, we can instantaneously feel the energy of that mantra pervade our whole system, our body, and our mind.
Tiganaji Kitanga Tangi Contua, Darden Zimba, Rawa Chabankin Zimba Hebina, the Zungdo, long than 70 body, Jagres, long than 70 body. Long than 70 von Jumbe Gabla, then the Tangi got to Tuaji as a Jungdo, Tuanji Slavo, emanation of La Euro. Bena not to Chaban Topa Mene. Chardon to what Tambina, Tene rank same down. 롱님 보듯네 거다 이해메와 로지 차기도 남가 양나 남가 당 샘 이해메와.
So in the same way, like if we have the mind is self-grasping, our mind frame is very narrow. It's very limited. And the way, and this is again like the connection between mind and wind becomes sort of limiting. And then when we are free, if we experience freedom from the conceptual limited mind of attachment and aversion, then there's this sensation of expansiveness. And again, this goes to show sort of this indivisibility of wind and the way in which mind and wind are indivisible. And the mind has this feeling, and when the winds feel more like spacious, and the mind likewise becomes more spacious.
어디 인도티네 텐디지 유비나 테네 코카세당 가서 디 바디 코라나야 테네 지 샘데고 지다 카세고라지 루인델 템 마고베 테네 라완로지 유사레스.
And this also goes to show that the mind is beyond the body, that our mind actually doesn't need the body to exist, that the mind itself like transcends the body.
다디 공유로와 나조디네 곰자기요레 곰잡네 곰잡이기다 샘티가나 네디나 나조 칼라고금도 배능아란도 임비나테네 지 가스리다 탱도 배제님만 이히나 숨지나지 리요로와 이내야테 디네 고티가라테네 지 도야 메조 배 고철와라배 대외가는 내기요로 대칼스나고 샘디로다 샘 디니고 휴지 그 머리를 도고야 요 말이스.
So when and this is like, for instance, exemplified by when meditators are able to meditate for long periods of time without food, without needing to rely on actual like physical intake of food, that there is this ability to sustain meditative absorption and to not need to eat, which is kind of a common practice. Mm-hmm. And this goes to show that the mind, is sort of independent of the body. Body la tumagoa.
어다 디네 오레스. 어테네 다 데레 데네 다 조치효데 가서 다 롱탕아.
So this is the, again, to say that the wind and the speech, and in particular wind and mantra, are very connected.
인디티 나가 저 롱라 라왕 톱나 송도 롱 라왕 톱이나 되네 지 루인들 또 먹어와 근데 용구여서와.
And so if you attain mastery over the winds, then this is lula tumagoa.
Not rely on the body.
You don't need to rely on the body.
Okay, so now we start. So we first, I think only English. So first we go to Dharma. Om ben dharme da gundale hana nam de omazo bava Shuddha sarva dharma sobhava shuddha.
Within the state of emptiness, from Om appears a vast and expansive. Sorry, this is the separate sheet. It's not part of the the sadhana. It's titled Preliminary Torma for Amityus Sadhana. Within the state of emptiness, from Om appears a vast and expansive jeweled vessel. Inside it are the syllables Om, Ah, Hum. They melt and transform into the Torma, which becomes equal to the extent of space. It is vivid and immaterial, with the power to arouse extraordinary undefiled bliss.
Om Agara Mokama Sarva Dharmane Adenu Venaduda Om Om Peso Om Agara Mokama Sarva Dharmane Adenu Venaduda Om Om Peso Om Agara Mokama Sarva Dharmane Nado da ma hum beso nam sarva da da gada valo jede om sambara sambara nam sarva da da avalo jede om sambara sambara nam sarva da da gada valo jede om sambara Sambara John Dende Tiye Yagwa Rinja Mala John Zelo Tiye Yagwa Sonze Tambala Tiye Yagwa Gunjam Le La John Zelo Tiye Yagwa Jagwa Damche Yongse Chiwa La Chan Lo
English?
Okay.
Homage to Tathagata, manifold jewels. Homage to Tathagata, sublime, lovely form. Homage to Tathagata, infinite forms. Homage to Tathagata, utterly free of all fear.
Keep going.
Those who roam about by night, ghosts, flesh-eaters, bloodthirsty goblins and demons, beings taking all sorts of different forms, those dwelling in tree branches and elsewhere, please accept this torma. Be delighted by this offering, food of meat and beer with cooked rice and many fruits. Let it pacify your harmful intentions, and from today onwards, cultivate a mind intent on benefiting sentient beings. Practice spiritual conduct like being adorned with ornaments. Disciplined and perfectly restrained, live purely. Abstaining from harming everyone, you spirits are like the fully ordained novices or even Brahmins. No one at all is invulnerable to weapons, so completely shun the vital essences of the living. Taking your own bodies as examples, do no harm to others. Om completely dispel the ailments afflicting the bodies of those great and small. You negative spirits, depart to your own abodes.
Om Sarva So, Amityus text.
Page 2. Root and lineage lamas, in whom all blessings are subsumed, Bhagavan, deity of longevity, who bestows the supreme attainment, Dakinis and Dharma protectors who subdue adversity, as I single-pointedly supplicate you with longing, with compassion for me and all embodied beings who pervade space, please establish us in the state of deathlessness.
Om Benzara Sapara Nakam Om Sarva Binya Para Para Sura Sura Avaradaya Om Benzara Sapara Nakam Om Sarva Binya Para Para Sura Sura Avaradaya Ya Bara Bara Sura Sura Avaradaya.
Clearly appearing as Amityus from the seed syllable at my heart, light rays emanate to the victorious ones of the 10 directions. Amityus and his retinue are invited and come to abide in the space in front.
Benzara Samanza Bema Asana Dita Sada Namasa Ngangada Sa Parevara Bendana Karo Me. Om Sarva Tatangata Sabare Vare Argam Badim Bube Dube Aloy Gende Nivede Shabda Partita So.
To all those worthy of praise, with as many bodies as there are atoms in the realms, at all times I bow down and with supreme faith offer praise. I take refuge in the 3 jewels and reveal each and every wrongdoing and non-virtuous action. I rejoice in the virtues of beings and holding the awakening of Buddhahood in my mind. In Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until awakening. In order to perfectly accomplish the benefit of myself and others, I give rise to the mind of awakening. Having given rise to the mind of supreme awakening, I welcome all sentient beings. Practicing the beautiful and supreme conduct of awakening, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of sentient beings. So he's beginning with this second line.
Sanje Chodan Sonjo Lai Chanjo Warade Dajam Je Aranje Doni Rabdo Je Chanjo Semne Je Waraje Chanjo Choge Semne Je Je Ne Semje Damje Dage Dondo Ne Chanjo, Chanjo, Yewan, Jeba, Je, Dola, Benjere, sanje rupai jo.
The field of accumulation dissolves into me.
Oma so bhavai shada sarvai dharame aso bhavai shudaham.
From within the state of emptiness, all fixation to things as real, grasping based on concepts of self and others, is transformed into emptiness. From within that state, atop a multicolored lotus and moon seat, I and the Torma appear as a red Hri syllable with a long vowel in Visarga. From it, light emanates, accomplishing the two objectives and returns, dissolving again into the Hri. Then, all at once, the Hri transforms into the enlightened form of Amityus, who is red in color, clearly appearing yet devoid of inherent existence. Ornamented with the major and minor marks, he has one face and two arms. His hair of matted locks is crowned by a jeweled diadem, and he is beautified by various ornaments of precious gems, a long necklace, middle-length necklace, and short necklace, along with bracelets and anklets that sparkle with light. He wears an assortment of silken garments, such as a blouse and skirt. His two hands are in the gesture of meditative equipoise, hold a vase decorated with ribbons, filled to the brim with the longevity nectar of deathlessness. He sits with his legs folded in the Vajra position, and from the Om at his forehead, the Ah at his throat, and Hung at his heart level, light emanates and invites the wisdom beings who appear similar in aspect to the visualized deity. Ja Hung Mam Ho. Merging indivisibly, they become non-dual. Once again, from the seed syllable at the heart level, light radiates, inviting the empowerment deities of the five Buddha families.
Om benzo gula sabare vara argam padem bube dube aloge gende nivede shabda padizaso. Oma sarva dadam radam bhikkhin gadya samaya ye.
Thus the empowerment deities bestow empowerment with the base water, filling my entire body and purifying defilements. The excess water overflows and forms the crown ornament of Amitabha. The empowerment deities then dissolve into me.
Oma sarva dadam gada yunjana sabare vare argam padem bube dube aloge agende nivede shabda paradisaso.
Amityus, foremost among the guides of this world, you conquer all forms of untimely death without exception. To you who provide refuge for all who are helpless and suffering, Buddha Amityus, I prostrate. To all those worthy of praise, with as many bodies as there are atoms in the realms, at all times I prostrate and with supreme faith offer praise. At the heart level on the center of a moon disk is the letter Hri surrounded by the mantra, which radiates light as it circles, accomplishing being's benefit. Gathering the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the light then returns and dissolves into the mantra garland and seed syllable.
Namo Bhagavate Abhari Meda Ayoranjana Sambini Zada Denzo Razaya Dada Gadaya Ahade Samya Sambudaya Diyata Om Bune Bune Maha Bune Abhari Meda Bune Abhari Meda Bune Jana Sambaro Pazede Om Sarva Samakara Parishuddha Dharma De Gangana Samogade Sobhava Beshude Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Abhare Meda Ayoranjana Sambini Zeda Denzo Ranzaya Tadangadaya Ade Samya Sambudaya Om Bene Bene Ma Bene Abhare Meda Bene Abhare Meda Bene Jana Sambaro Bhajade Om Sarva Samakara Parishuddha Dharma Denga Angana Samogade Sobhava Beshuddha Maya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Abhare Meda Ayoranjana Sambini Zeda Denzo Ranzaya Dada Gadaya Ade Samya Sambudaya Diyata Om Bune Bune Maha Bune Abhare Meda Bune Abhare Meda Bune Jana Ambaro Bhajade Om Sarva Samakara Parishuddha Dharma Dengangana Sobhava Beshuddhe Manaya Parivare Soha Om Amaran Jande Somaran Jande Somaran Jande Amaran Jande Somaran Jande Somaran Jande Amaran Jande Somaran Jande Amaran Jande Somaran
So tea break.
Juzugadu Suruleko.
4 o'clock. Come back 4 o'clock.
Florida time. So also I was just thinking with the mantra too, one thing that might be helpful is instead of like where you see V, actually anytime you see a V in a mantra, the Tibetan pronunciation is usually more like a wa, like a W. So you can just think of the V as being more like a W.
So page 14.
So with Ram Yam Kam, on page 14. With Ram Yam Kam, all fixation to the true existence of entities is burnt, scattered, and cleansed. Om Ah Hung Ha Ho Re. The Gana Chakra substances become the nature of primordial wisdom nectar. 3. These pleasing Gana Chakra offerings of forms, sounds, fragrances. Oh, okay, wait, sorry. Sorry.
Om Ava Re Ichi Je Du Tse Zang Yin Tu Chu.
3. These pleasing Gana Chakra offerings of forms, sounds, fragrances, flavors, and tactile sensations I offer to the glorious Root Guru and surrounding hosts of lineage gurus. I offer them to the Buddha Amityus and the surrounding hosts of longevity deities. I offer them to the Yidam Hayagriva and the surrounding hosts of Dakas. I offer them to Mahakala and Sri Devi and surrounding hosts of protectors of the teachings. From within the state of non-duality, I offer this vast and extensive Torma and Gana Chakra. Please partake of them free of the duality of accepting or rejecting. Allah, Allah, it is the play of enjoyment.
Okay, so one step.
Middle of page 14. Hung, behold this authentic Dharma endowed with beauty. To doubt it would be impossible. Brahmins, dogs, and pigs, together with outcasts, play in the space of co-emergent equality.
So do you have some questions in the text?
There is a question online. Janine Patino asks, Virginia, you and Venerable Drupal chant so beautifully. How many years have you been chanting together?
Hi, Jean. Nice to see you. Si nga cho de ngak don do bening jebo dong gyore lo gatse de ge nyam nyong yo. Well, Drupan has been, reciting mantras since he was a small boy, so for a long time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drupanla. My question relates to the 3-year program and this practice of Amityus. Since traditionally one would practice this prior to beginning the preliminaries, how do we incorporate, for those of us in the 3-year program, this practice into our 3-year program practice?
다 디 데려와. 리디 다나 ngazo다 ngondo teso jetan triye program tela karsena jetan ta jamdon ro da teso ro yimbina tene je 100,000 sa go ya tene yorwa ridi na ya da ngazo I chipena jamro la so ba tene dunta ji jing ro lab yorwa samde awtin ta tega na yi tanda triye program yimbina ya tene 다 총비나 tene ngazo 다 nyam tringi nima nyindorowa nyindobare tene maomba individually tene nima ngas to somebody tomna tene yaboyo sares.
So yeah, of course, since the Ngundro program is sort of a condensation of what is typically done in terms of like what we're suggesting or requiring for each section. So ordinarily, you would do, for instance, for each section, like, beginning with refuge, each of the uncommon preliminaries, for instance, would be the accumulation of 100,000. But now we're doing it in such a way that, doing a week of retreat takes the place of the 100,000. But then, of course, there are people who might be choosing to do the accumulations in the traditional way. So here, this weekend, this weekend is, we have a 2-day retreat essentially, which is like an introduction to this practice that also, is part of the course of practice that is, the Ngundro and the Fivefold Path of Mahamudra. But on your own, he said, you could do, in the future, a retreat on your own. That would be really great. And then, like maybe 5-day, like a 5-day retreat on your own would be really beneficial if people can do that. Actually, I had the thought myself that maybe we could do like a practice, a longer retreat, like in Kentucky, maybe at some point, because we did do this one time here years ago, where I can't remember how long it was, but it was longer than 2 days. I don't know. Does anyone remember? And that became, I think, an opportunity for people to do the full accumulation of them, because typically it's 100,000, like traditionally speaking, 100,000 mantras. Rewa? What's that? Of this mantra, yeah.
Short one, yeah. So long one is each session, maybe 3 times or something like that. 3 or 7 times.
For each session. So that's something to keep in mind. If people would like that, please voice, if people are interested in having a group practice, a longer group practice that allows for you to do all the accumulations, like please let someone know, because then we'll know there's interest.
Hi, Drupanla. My question comes down to the recitation of the mantra itself. Sometimes I notice that we do it out loud, kind of flowing together as a group. And then sometimes I notice that it's more kind of subtle and internal. And then sometimes I've noticed in the middle of sadhanas, we do it as a group, and then at some point in time, like almost in the middle, it goes internally. Is there a method, a thought, so that we kind of understand what's why or when, or I just was wondering.
So the samsamla nga dondu nga to penadang chenin yamdu chegiore samsamla yang de soso rawo chegiore wa samsamla dampo nyamdu chegiore deni hotigala yang tenda de kaka rawo chagiore soso nanga rawo deni yang jumsen rawo yorebe de chetang che yorebe kongso pena hapo ya kichido.
I think that's a good question. So only Kariore Lavina,
당가서 배는 드롭첸스야 가시지 요레스 배는 많이 드롭첸도이나 거다 참마 냠도 치네 되는 당한테는 동고야 들라 장기 깨작한 요 말이스
So actually, you know, there's only like some practices where there is kind of this tradition of doing the mantra all together with a particular melody, for instance. And that's something that's done specifically during Drupchans. So like the Mani Drupchan is an example of like we stay with the melody the whole time and we do it together. But other than that,
오케이 좀 어다 티인디네 다 남주 general ngaso pena cha xiaoina other group chance that group chance ina ta ngaso dum chu lagona khanda date pena chaga samvara waja yogini lak chero andini ta ko chang chunga the senari ta khanda thendi do pe mombo yores
but during other practices like drupchus, which are like, you know, there are other group like practices that are often done individually, but also sometimes done in a group context, like Chakra Sambhara or Vajra Yogini. And sometimes with those, for instance, there is more the practice of just everyone going at their own pace. So it's not really, it doesn't, okay, maybe on your own pace is not the right way to say it, but there's not a melody.
that tea 당가서 지 카르세나 단다 나오이나 나랑게 당가서 티치나 지히나 양코 음지티 팔로우로지 나 순동구나 다 팔로우로지 이나 티는 방 태양 그 룩소히라 요 말이스
Chitang Gaduyana.
yeah
So really, like traditionally, it's the umze, the chant master, who kind of determines what's happening with the recitation or the mantra, and everybody just follows that. But most often, actually, the mantras aren't usually in like a group setting like that. Traditionally, like in the monastery, they're not usually recited with melody.
이나 야다 테르와 제탕가 좀 안동베 갑라 티니 지 코란소 한상야케 긴통보 마임바 티니 과야 메조 마임바 다케 nengaade 카리어스나 next each other 로지 코반 로지 티니 코치 nga lokta nana tin roji yoris
But there is kind of like this standard way to recite mantra, which is that you're not too loud and you're also not too quiet, but you're kind of like, and you are chanting out loud, but your volume is in such a way that just the person next to you can hear you, kind of. You're just sort of, yeah.
티네데 양가 히카좀네 다지 오키지네 오근동네 오키지선 텐데기 말이 송도
Kadzune.
오카좀탄 농요 와한다고 치네 데기 말이 nga 니파 랩톡 말이스
Yeah.
에너지
So it's said that it's actually not okay. Like some people might just like keep their mouth shut and sort of be like, just like maybe either mouthing the words or kind of like so you can't even, you're not producing any voice. And that's said to not be correct, because in order for the energy of mantra to come, there has to be some sound that's being produced.
Okay, online there's another question. Afton Mountain says, what should we focus on or visualize when saying the mantra?
Yeah, that's a good question. That take Karilavina. The Nini Yoris. And they take the Karsena. That and Angtrain countries call Unadina according to the tax. Sechi Tenes at the countries called Grigi T or Tenagiti Chigres. Tineti Huglian, Holo Chine, Samba Mayingba Chine, Tenia, go Samba Mayingba, T Tornatine, the Londina, and to Yoris, Chatantal Yoris.
Wait, Garela? One. Sure.
다 탐못라.
Okay. So there's basically like kind of two ways that we can visualize or practice with the mantra recitation. So one is that you're basically visualizing according to how it's mentioned or described in the text. So like, for instance, there's the Hri at the heart center, and then the mantra garland is rotating the Hri syllable, and your mind is resting on that, or maybe other aspects of the visualization as it's described in the text while you're reciting. And then sometimes you can also just relax into awareness. That's the other option of just maintaining undistracted awareness as you recite the mantra.
Michelle has a question online. Can you unmute and ask your question?
I think I am unmuted. Hi, guys. Thank you. I have a question, not only in this practice, but in a lot of the other practices. They talk about the light emanates from the three places. I was wondering, is there ever a time that the light radiates from the lower chakras? And if so, when or why not? If not, why not?
Dini de penadin nangla yang mampo duptap nangla mampo nangla dini ne sum ne o trogiyorwa ini yang samsam la pena yang tewa dang sangne ne o trogiyorwe dini yang o matruwe gi jumsen de pena de korlo sangma ne matruwa gi jumsen karere.
다 제타 전화라바 나지리 되네 사다나 담다 요레스.
Dinda la masong de pena samsam la dinda pena de ne sum gongta ne sum ne de chitang dinda thongyore ne sum ne thogyore wa yini ang
Kodo ne sum
la
thorala.
ne sum le mangwa pena ne ji yang na ne nga ne o thu begi dupta yore be
네 좀 가워도.
de tawa dimba
매매 가워도
tuka
쓰다.
dinanga yore wa. So do you remember where it was in the text where it says from the three places, light radiates? I know, I saw it too.
It's always in like when you're when you're starting to practice and you visualize the deity. The light emanates from the Oma home. It's always usually up here. And I was just wondering if there's ever a time that you go down in the bottom. If so, when, or if not, why?
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, are these, because I know a lot of people considering this up here more spiritual than down here, and I kind of believe it's all good. I mean, it's all okay.
Mo di go korgirowa kain sana samsam la nga som korlo nga gi korla la girowa ini ang di ne sum de lunga yirwa mo di go tong girowa kain sana de pena de na korlo o ni gari chini o truvio mare rawala.
Really, 다 조 가스나 데리스 다 가서 조 내가 최초디 다 단디네 갑라 되네 내존 차디 요레스. 다 망치지디 두개 홍리 차기 요레 이나야 다 내가 내존 트인도 와. 거다 디 내존다 자첨보는 거서 루가 이존 그 손지라 되네 내존 트리 요레스.
So this is like so this is not like just isolating these three chakras. It's not about the chakras actually so much as it is that the three places are considered to be most important because they are body, speech, and mind. So that's what those three places represent, and so that's why you see that so often. Also, another one that sometimes you see is like the heart, the seed
Only
syllable at the heart, whether it's like at the hung at the heart or the seed syllable at the heart center.
내좀다 말이 배제 내 hilot네 was it over 다 지기나 유지리네 하고메스 이내 양가 전 지우 완렘베 까라 되네 가서 태미아요레스 was it 얘기 하는 was it 지워라 템네 tene kasa luji ke deba jaya dimba da temne nga ke deba chaya nyingala temne tene kasa de yiji deba chaya tene ta kasa gore de tewala tembe kabla ka terwa ta sara obscuration chaya tene david karsana ko song to mari terwa turku longko chuku
So sometimes there probably are, though, times, or sadhanas that involve also maybe light rays streaming from the four places, or maybe it depends, where the light is and where the different syllables are abiding, such kind of depend according to the different practices. But generally speaking, the three places of the forehead, the throat, and the heart are always connected with body, speech, and mind. Forehead is the body, throat is the speech, and heart center is the mind. And then sometimes, like for instance, in empowerment too, you'll notice we have
received blessings, basically.
When we receive the blessings, then they dissolve into sometimes the four places, so the forehead, the throat, the heart, and then navel. And these correspond with, when we receive the blessings that dissolve into our forehead, this purifies the obscurations of the body. When they dissolve into the throat, this purifies the obscurations of speech. When they dissolve into the heart, this purifies the obscurations of the mind. When they dissolve into the navel, this purifies like kind of all three together, or the subtle, sometimes they say the subtle obscurations. And so then together with that, you also have, because usually we talk of the four kayas, the three kayas or the four kayas. So you also have the fruition of the three kayas or the four kayas. So with the connected with body is the fruition of the nirmana kaya, or the forehead, nirmana kaya. Connected with throat or speech is the fruition of the sambhoga kaya. Connected with the heart or the mind is the fruition of the dharma kaya. And connected with the navel or the subtle, is the, or all three kind of together, is the fruition of the svabhavika kaya.
Thank you.
There's another question from Estefania. Can you unmute and ask your question?
Thank you. Good night. Rupona, I have two questions. The first one, when saying in the sadhana that the torma is sprinkled with water, is water with saffron that we can have an altar, or we have to prepare this water for a special way? And the other one is, if you can maybe give a sum up of if I want to make a one-day retreat, you said that we need, or usually we made 4 sessions. Okay, so in the first one, we made the torma, and we made the Gana Chakra in the 4 sessions, or we spent 2 hours in each sessions reciting Maida, and the mantra is the more time we spend. If you can make a summarize, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Javier, I'm so sorry. I didn't understand everything. I got pieces of that, but I think the sound is not that clear. So
será por el micro que está allá.
what first you asked about the water, right? The sprinkling of the water. If you make that with saffron water, and if you have it on your shrine, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So dini di kain sana dampo yang dinda di kare chikchina dinda di chu bum chu tor dawa chik ti yo sarwa dinangla dini di kande che go sare di dibzang dang chu dampo zone dini yang di chushom la jaya yorebe kande che ya yore
다 가두이 난 것도 다 초가 qabla tene 상장 labdu tene 다니야 상장 labdu tene pombaji yorwa ko pombati nana tazang chuji logu yore sta nga so 동나 라면 칸이나 tene
omeda armada gundal rina den go to ditine yina ta to der ya tambo te lam de.
So yes, first of all, with the water, so as a practitioner, and like anytime you're doing practices like this, you have the vase water. So you have the activity vase, and in the activity vase, you have a mixture of, as you said, water with saffron. So usually, like you make first with hot or warm water, add the saffron. Sometimes you can strain the saffron out, and you fill your bumba, your vase, with that. But you always have it when you're practicing, and you use it for, any, like during the tsok, to purify the tsok. You sprinkle it over the tsok. Whenever you see Om Amrita Kundali Hana Hana Hungpe, or some variation of that involving Amrita, then you're sprinkling the object, whether it's the offerings or the torma, or different substances are cleansed with the activity vase, and the water that's in that activity vase is the saffron water.
다 대가 나기 가서 정말 중국어 말이 맞아. 가서 waterboard. 지디테네 직 디갑라테 초디 스토어 라미암 카운트네 가서 디 light incense 도치 테니 치 고거신 다 സമയം 기타 지도가 가보여 그랬어.
So actually, we don't do this, but kind of, technically speaking, whenever we open the shrine, for instance, and we fill the bowls with water, and then there's often the sprinkling. We would do sort of with Ramyam Kam. There's the sprinkling of the vase water, the kind of the cleansing with wind, and the cleansing with fire. So the incense, lighting the incense too. We would kind of anoint or consecrate our altar when we open it in that way with those three activities. So then after that, you said, when we do the retreat, we have the 4 sessions, and then you said something about the torma, and what I understood is, like, do you do 4 2-hour sessions or 4 3-hour sessions? And I missed what else was
No,
part
if
of
you
that.
can give us a sum up of how we can make, for example, one day of our retreat.
Say that again?
If Kidrupon give us a summarize of one day of retreat, on the morning in the Torma,
Oh,
and then
okay,
the
to give
other
a
4
summary.
sessions, how or we may dig an attack in or 4 sessions, summarize, or one day retreat.
Okay. So dini chi dor dupa garsi ngato pena samla de giona dini tun rere la chapar gari yore dor dupa shuna yang pena chizu gatse che.
yina 다 투투도 다 depends this cuz each and degrees.
So first of all, sure. First of all, with regard to the time, how long you make your sessions, that's kind of personal. So whatever you are able to do, what you feel like works, in your retreat day, whether you want to do 2 hours, whether you want to do 3 hours, whether you want to do a kind of a combination of the two, that varies.
된다 세션 때 가는 동그래 람나 다 투 당보 때라 고는 마 차상 로그레스.
So, but the way, so to give you a summary though, so with the first session, you would do all your opening prayers, for instance, in the morning, first thing.
Not opening prayers.
Oh.
Go through 동그래 차상.
So not just the opening prayers, you would go through the whole text start to finish.
티인데 다 단단하게 동그레스 때 session 당보 때라 가서 때 멘트 제라
And actually, the first session, traditionally it's usually done during the first session, you would also do the tsok. So you would do it the way that we did now and go to page 14 to also do the tsok in the same way that we just did it. The Gana Chakra.
오다 대지네
Then that last page 13 or page 13.
So on page 13,
Last second line.
the last to second line, or the second to last line. So it's actually, I think, the last line in English, I guess. Is that? No.
Right,
Got it?
okay,
Which
that's-
one? Which line? Drupa? The bouquet la gare?
Right, so page 34 thing, this, the Tibet, this, English, page 41 long, this, English.
Page what?
Page 34.
No, in the text. So, kapar.
Page 13.
Uh-huh.
That's a long race dedication. The Tahi long maris.
So it is actually, you're only reciting, I guess it is the second to last line, because the two lines that come after that is what's referred to as the, well, it's the tashiba, which is the words of auspiciousness, which you only do at the very end.
No,
No.
so only dedication. I said no.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. So you only do the dedication, which is that second, it's the second to last line in the Tibetan. So it's actually the last line in English. Hri, Buddha, protect our Amityus through the virtue of this recitation and practice. May myself and all beings without exception reach the level of supreme awareness holders of longevity. So that's all we need to recite in terms of the dedication. We don't recite what comes after, which are these two lines above that follow, that are for auspiciousness.
That is shoot la. That is what is second first session.
So that's the first session.
Second session data golden goal chigmaris. The page 4 ne gozo grace.
So then with the second session, you don't have to recite the beginning. You start at page 4.
The last session data tahitan long grace. Page kawado 30 40 long grow.
The only last session, yeah. So, so the second to fourth sections, you don't recite the first part. All the last three sessions, second session, third session, fourth session, you start on page 4, and only on the last session, the fourth session, do you recite those two lines that are the prayer of auspiciousness. So, which is on page 14, before the tzok. It's those two lines, the first two lines in English on page 14. We only recite that on the fourth session. And of course, you also, you don't do the tzok except for the first session.
Right, so only first session.
Yeah, so the tzok, or the Gana chakra, is only done during the first session.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay, if you no questions, so now where is that? Okay.
Okay, wait, use the microphone.
So I've noticed that, yeah, after you do the mantra for a while, you do feel viscerally like the change in the mind. I mean, for me, it was one of the first times I felt peace. It's a Mani Drupshin I went to. And my question is, because you said the most important is the wind, but where does the vibration or the frequency comes through? Because to me, it seems it has to do a lot with the frequency or the vibration, like the or like woo. So it's not just wind; it has some movement in it. So would you speak a little bit about that, like the tone, vibration, or how does that influence, or does it have to do anything with it, or?
So are you connecting vibration with pitch? Like,
No, more like the visceral feeling of Because when you do you feel it in here, right here, hum. It literally feels. Each one has a particular vibration, and the vibration, depending on which mantra you're doing, makes you feel a certain way. So would you talk a little bit about that vibration or tone? That's my question.
Ina dati da zo kar semra zo semri ti da sem de maingwa rawa dati tap ti kar sena nga zo di bena shamada labdu semain be ke tabri rawa tene nga zo generation stage labdu ya generation stage ko korang terang chi ne chi nam to shimba mayong we ke ta tabri tene nga rang be kabla thga na yin ta zo chi semain be ke 다 저한테 focus 시그레스 양 vibrating 다 제방아 그 누파 좀 매쳐봐 요르디나테 좀 당고 말이스.
So he said the main thing is actually the non-distraction of the mind. So it's mainly like in maintaining single-pointed meditative concentration. That's what the mantra, we're unifying the wind and the mantra and the mind. So it's like with shamatha, when we have an object of focus and our mind is single-pointed on that object. So it's the same way, whatever we're resting our mind on when we're reciting the mantra, like in the generation stage, there are all these different methods, whether it's like, the visualization of the seed syllable or the mantra garland rotating, or we're resting in awareness. The main thing is that the mind is maintaining undistracted meditative concentration, whereas, yes, the power of mantra, and that's connected with vibration, the power of mantra is inconceivable, but we don't think about that. It's more about the undistracted awareness or the concentration of the mind, and that's what produces the results.
Thank you.
I had a question about that. As a musician, I often wonder about vibrations and how that is manifested in the prayer and the mantra. And I was wondering, is there a place for that? Is there a place for like Western music in the mantras and the reciting of mantras and those types of things? Most specifically thinking about, playing backgrounds and things behind you as you meditate, those types of things. Is that helpful, do you think, or is that more of a distraction, as you just said?
That is just one music say the pendo payores. Well, I pen a charge having a shamada objects love the same near la tampon to same near tabra. Same near get tabla taji make some candigina young, got his Samson neto maris. Yin a young coach music you to call lotis chogriorwa. Or logic chogriudu tene tene same neto guiores. Do you remember what is that? Is Chiji Yorwa? The Dharmapada, what did he call Kandijina Gom Kaya Jato Marina? I don't remember, but called Sam Kandichin Negio Marwa. That thing magic chendo, I don't know exactly, but Jagona Tinico Sam Neto Gorwa, Chickerboina attainment.
Chicarbo?
Yeah, I know your body in a tap so that music is in a young, music tell it anything. Sem near to be Ioris. In a young time, it out on finally that Marwa, to be on Chavo.
So he said, first of all, he wants to say he thinks that music is extraordinarily powerful when it comes to meditative, like abiding the mind, stilling the mind. And for some people, it can be such an effective tool to calm and concentrate the mind. In fact, and then he said he was trying to remember there was some story connected with the Dharmapada, but he can't remember exactly what it is, but something that involves a white dog. A white dog that couldn't, and the dog.
But he did try to meditate many different methods.
The dog?
Whatever. No.
Oh, okay.
So he did kotai, whatever, just all many things he did try to calm down or this, but he cannot, so not working. But only one thing, something focus or what door, or I don't remember. So that's, so
and then he was able to rest his mind. But I think he was making the connection that for some people, maybe like especially at the beginning, like maybe music would be the most effective method. But he said, but then later on, it kind of, you don't need music, you don't need anything else. But I'd like to just say one thing, and what you said about Western music is that His Holiness Chetsong Rinpoche feels very strongly. He actually wants there to be for Westerners to use Western melodies, and they tried using Western music like instruments with the Havadra practice in Germany. But I think it didn't.
Does not work.
It didn't quite work. But that was his thought, was that it would actually make sense for Westerners to use Western music instead of the Tibetan music. He was thinking that was.
Not music, I think melodies.
But now they've kept it at melodies. So they came up with these more Western, almost kind of Celtic sounding melodies that they are now practicing and have for a number of years, using those melodies in Germany with the Hivadra and Nairatmya Drupchen, which is what His Holiness's vision was, this idea of incorporating Western music. Yeah, melodies.
So in that same line of thought, I gotta be very honest. For me, after all these years of learning Tibetan Buddhism, it's still very difficult to follow all the, how do you say? All the symbolism, right? And the visualization, I don't even want to get there. It's super difficult. But the one thing that I remember I've been taught before is to settle, the motivation, to focus on the purpose of the practice. And yes, we have to practice, the visualization as much as we can. So fake it until you make it, right? But if we try to incorporate of this cultural, ¿cómo se dice? Liturgy. Of the Tibetan culture. The liturgy of the Tibetan culture. As long as we want to be respectful, we're not Tibetan. It's very difficult. So it makes sense that Chechens Rinpoche said, let's try it in your own, familiar music or whatever. But still, we're going to get distracted with the music. And we cannot chant mantras with rock, as much as we like rock, right? So it everywhere, we're so distracted, and it's so difficult. And so I guess the point I'm trying to make is that let's try not to get too hung up on these details, which are important, but to learn the method, which is the datum is the result. The result is the base. It's got to be a visual aid for me that I have these qualities, and as incredible as it sounds, I can emulate those qualities and aspire to be a full-blown Amityus. And all these objects are just support. I do find a great benefit on doing the offerings daily. Even though I'm not a very disciplined person, I can attest the miracles that happen with doing the offerings every day. And that's such a small gesture that everybody can do. And then when I forget, I tell my children, like today, don't forget to change the offerings. And then you give them the opportunity to learn by that little action the power of generosity. So my invitation to my former Western friends is not let you go hung up in it. Do your best little by little by little. And let's try to settle our motivation. And that's a great start.
The pena the dampo be kale couple dawatory or guys and a luxo beti kaka yore, then be damanda dingo yore, make bache go yore, then Pe kale kapo yore yena yang teni de gimsen la teni hako tuku yore pena chamgan rambuche de be soso gi lukso drawo che na ke chembore yapo yore sungba de yena yang de yang chok shimba la samlo tangna pena ngacho denda rock music do cheba yena kapo rwa de nga yang denda pena yang sira dogmarwa gain sena so sim ne we gita Dini more mogi pache dor dupa laba de sowo ngowore de dunda sowo gare yore dini pena yang de nune dena detail mambo be zimba shuo yona dini de barche dawo zogre pena mogi sambala pena dor dupa nune dena de sepa megi yonten sama nga nangla yore nga nune ngundu che gogo yore dini de sowo dunda de yona dini yang pena mo yena de pe le la poche pena yoncha ni ma rede che la pe ke chembo yore ni ma rede chendu che yore ga si jena deni pugu la yore yinji minchi yoncha pugu gere la kra ni pe han saya pinto samgi mi kya ba yore mo nyamnyong yore de yang jin la dang nupa dang sonam pe je yore de la tene dunda chung chung de
Really, that's good. It is. That's yeah, baby. Yeah, who knows, baby step or door step, but that's pretty good. Good step. Really good. Re ta terwa di ta nyamang mambola ta nyamlen cheya di ko khandi chi yo na semne ya khabrawa. Ti ndi moto be ta chik samsang so of course language is kagayore tene ko music to sama familiar yo marwa tinditi ta ko khang top top cheajiri mato be ke tela ji dan de ndigi do ndigi mendo ta tindi ke cha khang yo mar chona la bana ji zo semlo te yak for this.
So, yeah, and he also just wants to acknowledge that it can feel really overwhelming, especially at first, because there's so much. It's so rich and it's so foreign. It's so different, from, especially culturally speaking, the language is different, the music is different, everything about it is very different, and we're not familiar with it. But to your point, without getting too discouraged or hung up on the details, just, kind of doing our best and taking what we can, and gradually it does become easier and easier. And, the main thing is to connect with the aspects that you feel a natural connection to.
Music na ko blessing yours nga so music te start khachi yours dharma practice music start chi yorwa tela yang nupa dang ko tela yang ko thirang kan ro chorong la bana gre nga so rock music do ina ko dharma practice chi ya ma ta ji me yin khu ya do ji ko be thin do ji ke ko purpose te ro purpose te ma to ti yel beyond cha ya yo marwa tini tene ji ta nga so ke kharse gore music te zo te kharse na ji chamba tangdewa yuwa, ninje tangdewa yuwa, tene karse gorji, logo deti tangdewa yuwa, o tindi yungu yore, ten goju du kona dharma rangre, sina yinche mini ko tanda rangpe chazan hagu xie yo mares.
So, and he said, as far as the music part too, he said he feels that that the style of music that is traditionally done with the practice holds blessing. The reason for that is because it originated out of Dharma practice. So the context was Dharma. And he agrees with you, and so there's power in that. He agrees with you, he thinks it would be difficult to have the same effect with rock music, for instance, because rock music came out of a different place. And so this, with the music, this music, there's kind of automatically the blessings of love and compassion, and also connection with the local deities. And so there's, and it's very ancient. So he thinks there's value in keeping the same sort of traditions in terms of, the way we recite mantra and the ritual of it with the music and everything.
Pena Tambo Koran, Dharma Koran la, Techi, Till Tianeta, Pena Yawarek nga, Yapimba, Yapnga imba, Yomga imba, Tindije Kitini, Ko Sandia Keta, Tap, Chiglatini, make it Tindije Kota, Nazo Sogyo Robert Dorje Dab, to the top condition, top that Tindiji Chitila, Dorje. Ko Tambo go to do anything, music Majungone, Ko Dharma Kona Rang Kona Sines, Kona Chu Kona Dadangazo, Ko Dharma Doji, Yabanagi, Dharma holding Chibanagi, Doji, Sogiorwa. When a Tambo Doji China, Chu Norwa, Chu Kona Sumbo Bay, Yom, Hit their Yingbo, Tindi Yore is Laborwa. In that you what they call Hakumandwa. Or Tindi that Tindi Jekiko symbol of Sogior.
Yeah.
Or Tindi Jiko Dharma rank ko social days.
So, like for instance, how he talked about like the symbolism of the Vajra and bell, which are like the primary instruments that we use, right, in terms of the ritual music, and how they, like the 5 spokes, represent the 5 male Buddhas and the 5 female Buddhas, and wisdom and method, and these are contained, these inner meanings are contained in the instruments themselves, and so the music that then comes out of them is also, it's like the instruments were created for the purpose of Dharma practice, and the instruments themselves hold this inner meaning, which then when you play the instrument, it has, that kind of effect, ideally on the mind. And so he thinks that it's, that it's pretty deep.
So interesting, so this symbolize, so we, these 5 Buddha families, or 5 pure lands. So one hand is, yes, we sort of believe somewhere, right? But probably within us. But this is symbolized. So we cannot 5 Buddha families, it physically right now we cannot see, we cannot touch. But the Bell Dorje method, so like, okay, 5 Buddha families here, 5 wisdoms here. So like I'm holding now, with all
gives material
yes,
form
like
to these things.
So those kind of things. And also some like in the music come from this Buddha time, he used the conch, So then this kind of he blow the auspicious time and Buddha used, so then we can use like that. And also this interesting, so some Tibetan music in a little bit different India. So the long horn, right? Long horn, I think India use or not. But then the Pandya Adisha first come to the Tibet. So it's sort of like people line up, make music, whatever they do. So then just kind of what they using, which kind of, what is the music?
Musical instruments?
Yeah, instrument. So they made like long horn. So since then, so this kind of Pandya Adisha blessing. So
the longhorn was new. It was invented during the time of Atisha.
Was it the elephants? There's a story like that, right?
What's that?
The sound of the elephants.
Oh.
They made that so he could hear the elephant sound. That's the
He
story
heard
I
yeah, maybe. Okay.
So,
Japan,
yeah.
My question is, with my scattered brain, when I do say the mantra, sometimes my brain can still go off in 25 different directions. So I've often found that for me, it works better to just visualize the rays of light from the mantra going out to specific people. And then like the ripple going out to the state, to the country, to the whole universe. And especially with Amityus thinking, especially for holiness, to make the light go to holiness, to you and to specific beings. That way my mind could focus. Is that okay?
That's very good. So that's very good. So that's actually how to do. So you said, we, so also like something Omani Beme Hong, right? So like radiates, sometimes we, offering to, or the Buddha, Dharma, and this offering to like return, bake, blessing, and then with this, the 6 realms, so this, okay, this light radiate to hungry ghosts, so the purifying there's hunger and thirsty, whatever they have suffering, and then like radiate two in the animal realms, we see how much is suffering, how many died, we see, we actual, so then that is purifying. So that's
And
good.
it says,
that's really
actually in the text, it says somewhere it radiates out and accomplishes the two benefits, and it's talking about those two things.
That is very good.
But
Yeah.
it's cute because when I do the Omani Padme Hum and the hell realms especially, I just picture them all coming out and being in an area where they're warm or cool, whatever needs, and a picnic. And I picture Pam out there cooking food for people, for hungry ghosts, and the animals getting along with everybody.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. So because the mind training, so that's kind of like one thing is motivation help, So normally we ordinarily we don't have. So I want this, I don't like this, I want this or this and that. So that's we stuck, these sub-clinging is kind of like stronger and stronger. But if these practice, and then we're not thinking about ourselves, I want this, I like this, I don't like, because we're thinking of through the compassion. So then, that moment is the sub-clinging is not there.
I think we have a question online. Afton, can you unmute and ask your question?
Oh, he says he has no microphone. Yeah. Can you read it? Is it written there?
Is there a specific reason that Amitabha is not? Oh, he already asked that one. Yeah, I guess he didn't hear that.
Response. Oh, yeah, we went over that section. Why is Amitabha mentioned just in the one place in the context of the 5 Buddha families?
He said that you attempted to address it earlier, but we're in the wrong section.
Oh, what page did he mention?
Bottom of 12.
Oh, bottom of 12. Yeah, I don't see it at the bottom of 12.
What?
It's the bottom of 11. Yeah, so it is in that context.
Ceiling segment, he says. The ceiling segment.
Oh, the ceiling segment. Yeah, that is. But Amitabha isn't mentioned there, right? No, the 12, like, Dendati Hong, Kalden, Chime, Dorje, La, Namnang, Korlo, Kui, Ja, Pagme, Pema, Sungi, Ja. Why isn't he mentioned there? That's the question. That is a mistake. He should be there. Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't translated. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Pame Pema. Yeah. Yeah. Sealed with the wheel of our Pagme is Upagme, right? Yeah, so it's there in the Tibetan. Thank you. Yeah, so it's missing from that section because it should be, yeah, that was really good. The enlightened speech is sealed with the lotus of Amitabha. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can add that after it is, enlightened form is sealed with the wheel of Vairochana, is that right after that, right?
No, Tondro.
No, Namnam Korlo Kui Ja Gijela. Yeah. Then right after that, then you can say enlightened speech is sealed with the lotus of Amitabha. Thank you very much.
Can I just add something really quick of the Tibetan language itself?
Okay.
Do you think you use a microphone or no? I will mute it, but do they need it?
Mm-hmm.
In that case, speech?
Enlightened speech is sealed with the lotus of Amitabha. Page 12, at the bottom of page 12.
Thank you. So I might be wrong, but way back when I started learning Buddhism, like 2010, 11, around that time, I would ask a billion questions all the time. I mean, more than now, like a billion, literally, I would have. And I asked about this stuff, and what I heard is that the king, I don't remember if Preet's Undead said, like the first king, he brought all of the most accomplished scholars, panditas, musicians, like they were just the most genius of everywhere. And he gave them the task to come up with a language that was just for the Dharma. And so, because they were in Sanskrit, they developed this sacred language which is perfect in metrics, which is perfect in vibration and tone. And that's why when we go through the sadhanas, they always fall into the same beats. They always, like, you can follow that da 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 da, because it's perfectly symmetrical. It has mathematics in it, like the vibrations are meant to wake up the consciousness. And everything from the sadhanas and the colors, and Chogyan Trungpa was actually very into that. Like even the door has to have particular colors because when the eye sees it, there's certain cones, certain rods that wake up energetically everything. So that's why all of these things is good to keep them as traditional as possible because they hold that blessing. And what I also heard is that we chant the Tibetan because it keeps the vibration in the earth rather than it dissipating and not being there. So every time you say it, you're basically keeping it in this world, like you anchoring it. So I don't know, it might be wrong, but that's what I heard, that all of those, like the instruments, that when you're in the womb, when the egg is developing, there's like the boom, 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 boom. All that, you hear all these noises like the crash, because when you're inside, there's this brutal sounds and noises. And so when you crash the cymbals, when you do all of that, it symbolizes to wake you up like when you were an embryo. Like I remember everything was very detailed like that. So just wanted to add that.
You remember from what?
That's what I learned at the beginning, and that's why it was so important to it. And yeah, when we bring the modern music, I mean, in Mexico, they've been doing all this beautiful music, but it's in addition. You have the traditional, and then because I guess the Mexicans get bored, like they made some really like nice cumbia-like or really fun music, and you know people love them, and they use guitar and all this stuff. But anyway,
really, that's true. So this is actually they create the language in the sound, and what they have in the Sanskrit, and the copy from the Tibetan language. So also this. The blessing of the sound. So I think particularly the Tibetan so special look what that ko za chembo yosares karsena ko ki kedandang to yorwa.
Wait, Candela? Hinayana dola.
Ta tamam don la don sa ko yo ete suchan don grwa.
Aha.
Do logrwa sama san di pobeke te kanjo lo tenjo logdwa o te ti ina ko yege te karchong bore lamna tene sanskrit pe tane ko chikwan roji yore stick nupa dratik tene nupa yore sungdwa.
So there's actually like also some emphasis about the importance of chanting sutras. Like the sutras, because especially when the sutras were translated, that there was this attention that you're speaking to, like of this kind of the transference of what was there in the original sound in the Sanskrit to the Tibetan. So it's like especially important to chant them aloud, de bukela, yeah, in Tibetan. So, and that there's real blessing there, and that you can feel, through the recitation, that reciting aloud the Buddha's sutras.
Okay, so now, so the remainder. Om Agara, so page 15, 1-5. Om Agara, Magam Sarva Dharmane Adene Naduda, Om Agum Beso. Om Agara, Magam Sarva Dharmane Adene Naduda, Om Agum Beso. Om Agara, Magam Sarva Dharmane Adene Naduda, Om Agum Beso. Om Zida Padiza Sarva Buddha Hacha Sova. Okay, back to page 7. Om Bendar Meda Gundali Hana Hum Be Om Asobava Hyada Sarva Dharma Sobava Hyada.
From within emptiness arises a broom syllable, from which appears a jeweled vessel, extensive and vast. Inside it appear the syllables Om Ah Hung, which melt into light and transform into the Torma, comprised of divine substances. A vast ocean of nectar, endowed with the 5 qualities of the senses, an abundance of energy, flavors, fragrances, and colors.
Om Ahum Havore, Om Ahum Havore, Om Havore, Om Ayin Jana Sabare Vare, Edam Balinda Gaga Gaye Gaye. Om Ayin Jana Sabare Vare, Edam Balinda Gaga Gaye Gaye. Om Ayin Jana Sabare Vare, Edam Balinda Gaga Gaye Gaye.
Bhagavan, together with your retinue, please partake of this vast offering Torma, and being pleased by it, extend and prolong the precious lifespans and activities of our glorious gurus. May all inharmonious elements posing obstacles to them be thoroughly pacified. May all limitless sentient beings be free from the 8 and 16 fears, such as untimely death. Avoiding eras of illness, weapons, famines, and war, may we enjoy magnificent qualities like those during the time of perfection. May untimely death and all forms of danger be pacified for myself and generous supporters, and may we accomplish all our aims in accord with the Dharma. For however long we remain, may no harm or injury befall us, and may longevity, merit, and fortune increase and expand like the waxing moon. Ultimately, may we easily reach the state of the omniscient victor, Lord of Light. Until we reach that state, in all lifetimes, holding you, Bhagavan, as our principal deity, please bless us that we may never be separated from you. Bestowing the 2 attainments, bless us to accomplish unobstructed enlightened activity.
Om Benzara Sabara Naka, Om Sarva Benya Bura, Bura Bura Sura Sura Avadaya Om Benzara Sabara Naka,
Oma sarvam biya pura pura sura sura vadaya wo om benzal sapara na kama oma sarvam biya pura pura sura sura vadaya wo oma sarva tata gada re argam ba ding bu be du be aloge gende Shabda Badi Zaso. Gome dong ara jorwa namje ja sanje tsepa me la champa. So now in English, the both myself.
Both myself and the Torma clearly appear in the form of Amityus. From the seed syllable at the heart level emanate limitless victors of the 5 Buddha families, holding longevity bases and arrows with silken ribbons. The vitality from the constituents of my flesh, blood, warmth, breath, and consciousness have been stolen and plundered by spirits and obstructing forces and have become fragmented, diminished, damaged, out of balance, broken, disturbed, torn, or destroyed. That vitality, along with the essences of earth, water, fire, wind, and space, the blessings of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Lamas, Yidams, Dakinis, and Dharma protectors, the longevity of awareness holders with mastery over lifespan, and the vitality, merit, wealth, life force, physical power, and pranic energy generated by the beings of the 6 realms are summoned and absorbed into the longevity substances.
So first maybe then we can do one Tibet.
Hung, when the fortunate Vajra disciples' vitality from the constituent of flesh declines, Mother and Father Buddha Ratnasambhava, please summon vitality from the element of earth. Hung, when the fortunate Vajra disciples' vitality from the constituent of blood declines, Mother and Father Buddha Akshobhya, please summon vitality from the element of water. Hung, when the fortunate Vajra disciples' vitality from the constituent of warmth declines, Mother and Father Buddha Amitabha, please summon vitality from the element of fire. Hung, when the fortunate Vajra disciples' vitality from the constituent of breath declines, Mother and Father Buddha Amoghasiddhi, please summon vitality from the element of wind. Hung, when the fortunate Vajra disciples' vitality from the constituent of consciousness declines, Mother and Father Buddha Vairochana, please summon vitality from the element of space.
Okay, so back to page 11. So now use the arrow right now.
And you see he's also holding the Vajra in his right hand with the arrow.
Yeah, you hold the Vajra too, so that's okay. Oi gande dore je lo ma lai sha ye gane ze nya na jon de ren jon yang yong je sa ye gane ze go je or na ye ge won gande dore je lo ma ye Rajen Gane Zenyana Ajom De Me Jo Yang Yom Je 주의 감내 제고제 오마다 유게 혼자 간데 도제 로마예 주의 감내 제냐나 경대 밤에 야용제 매예 감내 제고제 오베마유게 혼자 가란데 도르제 로마예 오겐 간네 제냐나 경대 돈도야용제 롱겐 간네 제고제 오가마유게 혼자 남겐 간네 제냐나 엄대 남나야용제 남겐 간네 제고제 옴부다 유게 혼자 간데 지미 도르제라 나난 고로그예자 바메 메마송게자 메조도르제 도게자 아렌조렌제연대자 통도자 정진레자 menjorame taji dawo buddha banzare na bema karma munda supati zara cha hong
Inji lo ya yorme. Inji. So at the bottom of page 12 in English, also including the line we added, thank you to Anton. Hung, for the deathless Vajra endowed with fortune, enlightened form is sealed with the wheel of Vairochana, enlightened speech is sealed with the lotus of Amitabha, enlightened mind is sealed with the Vajra of Akshobhya, enlightened qualities are sealed with the jewel of Ratnasambhava. Enlightened activities are sealed with the crossed Vajra of Amoga City. Thus sealing, may they become changeless and non-declining.
Keep going.
So keep going, page 13. May our lifespans become indestructible like a Vajra. May they be non-declining like a victory banner. May they be unchanging like an eternity source. May we thereby accomplish the supreme form of the deathless Vajra. Lacking wealth and unable to find adequate provisions, practice that has been tainted by my obscured mind, omissions or additions, whatever mistakes, Protector Amityus, please forgive them all. Hri, Buddha Protector Amityus, through the virtue of this recitation and practice, may myself and all beings without exception reach the level of supreme awareness holders of longevity. Hri, may there be the auspicious good fortune of the root and lineage gurus who excellently bestow the ripening and liberating instructions. May there be the auspicious good fortune of the Lord of Deathlessness who bestows the ordinary and supreme attainments. May there be the auspicious good fortune of oceans of oath-bound ones who clear away obstacles and adverse circumstances.
Okay, so we are together, so auspicious thing. So last line, page 30.
Page 13.
Okay, thank you. We complete. Now short dedication.
Page 24. By the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drikungpa Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. And to page 19. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Changchup sem chorin boshe ma ke panam ke gyurje ke panyam pa me bayam gong ne Changchup sem chorin boshe ma ke panam ke gyurje ke panyam pa me bayam gong ne gong du pelvar sho.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, everyone in person and everyone online. Thank you. And I think we have Donna, would you? Yeah, so everyone, can you please stay seated? We have a couple of announcements. First, Donna Ray, our executive consultant, she's going to give some, just tell you a little bit about the 3-year program and some opportunities there.
Thank you very much, Drupal Life, for these amazing teachings, and Virginia for translating, and for the opportunity to speak about the 3-year program just a little bit, and a small change, but important change that's coming along. For the sake of all of us, raise your hand if you are currently enrolled in the 3-year program. And everyone online, just give a hands up. And now, raise your hand if you're not sure what I'm speaking about. Okay, a couple people. So if I may, I'm going to read briefly something Drupanla had written for a newsletter last year in September about this program. These are his words, translated by Virginia. Of all the different methods and options for Dharma practice, there is nothing more complete or profound than the fivefold path of Mahamudra. It contains the potent essence of all the practices of the great Mahasiddhas of ancient India, as well as the greatest, most realized masters throughout history in Tibet. In my opinion, this is the most profound and precious set of practices there are, and the fact that we have all made contact with them and have the conditions to enter such a path of practice is a sign of our extraordinary merit and good fortune. We would not have met with such conditions were there not the karma for it, or had not made aspiration prayers in former lives. From my side, I will share all that I know and will do my best to help you to deepen your understanding and experience without holding anything back. This format provides more opportunity than a typical teaching program, and I am so happy to begin this new program together. If we really practice well and devote ourselves to the process, I have no doubt that it will be great benefit to the longevity of the Buddha's teachings and to all sentient beings. Drupal Tenli Ningpo Rinpoche. So I was fortunate enough to sit with Rinpoche about the Amityus Retreat here, and he was explaining to me the importance for everyone, but especially those in the 3-year program. So I, for one, am extremely happy that I can participate in this program. So those of you who are enrolled, we started last August, and we are now on the 4th thought that turns the mind in Nundro, and that is the defects of samsara. So you are all used to registering by each section taking approximately 2 or 3 months here and there overlapping. But now that we're at defects of samsara, we have had 2 teachings with Rinpoche, and you've not seen a registration form yet, but you will see that come out tomorrow. But I wanted to take this moment to let you know of the difference between this registration for defects of samsara and the previous 3 registrations. This one you'll have the opportunity, Drungnir is encouraging those in the 3-year program to become a monthly donor. So when you click on the registration link, it's going to default to give you the option to join as a monthly subscriber. And we have several reasons for doing this. One, because you've made it this far in Nundro, and you expect, we hope, that you have aspirations to complete the next 2 years plus 4 months. And if that's the case for you, then you don't need to keep re-enrolling or manage payments going on for the next 2+ years. It's a way to spread the costs out over time, so you don't have to do one lump sum. You can sort of manage your payments as you go. And then these type of recurring donations, they help to sustain and manage the program. And from my experience working with Drupal and Virginia, I cannot express to you how much work they do to make this program happen. And what's beautiful is it's happening in real time. So they're developing texts all the time, sometimes right up to the night before the teaching, and then we're printing them out, and we're emailing them, and they're teaching on them. And we get a 2-day retreat with Rinpoche in Virginia every 3 months. So it's a very robust, incredible program, as Drupal's words have spoken to that. So we're hoping that you would consider signing up as a monthly donor. And just so you know, if you want to cancel that or change the amount at any time, you can do that by reaching out to me. And like I said, I'll send out an email about that with more information tomorrow. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And having said that, furthermore, we have about 40 monthly donors right now, and these have been generous long-term donors donating monthly for a while now. So we thank those of you. And so if you are one of those people that have been donating regularly, you don't need to re-enroll in the 3-year program, Paula. So no worries there. You're already good, and we can have a better conversation about that offline. And furthermore, for those of you who are not currently a monthly donor and you are not currently enrolled in the 3-year program, Drungnir also encourages you to please consider signing up as a monthly donor to help cover the operating costs of Drungnir and to help Drupal plan and the organization plan for the future. So with that, thank you very much for your time.
And that's just to reiterate, it is taking the place of the registration, the how it was done before. So it's covered by the recurring costs. And also, I would just like to let everyone know, many of you might know that we have planned